Hey guys, quick project for this week in my 1550 challenge. Decided to take a bit of a different route than I usually would with building super complex builds that take up a lot of time. And this time around, went with something that was super easy, simple, and quick. And my sixth project is now live. It is a code line counter. If you don't know who I am or watching my videos for the first time, I'm building 50 projects in 2025 as a part of a 1550 challenge using only AI tools. As usual, I'm going to go over as to why I decided to build this project, how does it work, tech stack that was used, things that I did for the first time ever, and things that I plan to improve, a few challenges that I encountered, and then give myself a final score. Um, the main reason why I built this app was because of the fact that I just love data. And in the past, I've read tons of tweets that would, start with after X amount over 15,000 lines of code, this and that project is now live. And, even though I know it's not a actual quality or productivity metric, it was always interesting to me to understand like how many code lines are in each and every one of my projects, right? And especially like I'm going to build 50 of them this year. What's the total tally going to be? And with this tool, I will have my answers. A few hours of work resulted in getting a code line count to its birth. It is a super simple app, as you will see in a minute, but pretty straightforward. You just register, create your account, and then paste the URL of the repository that you want to analyze. If that repository is private, you would need to create your own token. There's a tutorial page available on my website, which I'm going to show with read-only capabilities. Yeah. And then from that point on, you just continue to monitor whether that's from the portfolio menu where you can easily ping the API to update your code line count periodically, as well as the number of commits from the main dashboard. So let's head right over to the landing page. Did not put any effort or time in it, which will reflect my final score for this build. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Answer a couple of questions. That's not relevant as much. I'm already logged into my account, but before I log in, I'll just head over to the authentication guide. So again, as I mentioned, hopefully, and most of your repositories on GitHub are private. And if that is the case, you will have a full explanation as to how you should create a token, what type of permissions you should provide to this app. So don't provide it all permissions, just read permissions so that we can see, so that the tool can see the number of lines of code and everything else that it needs to have. And never share your token or store it in public repos, and set an expiration date, really grant the minimum permissions, and then regularly revoke and reissue new tokens as well. That's the first guidance that I want to share before I even start doing anything else. So when we go over to dashboard, I already added some of my projects. If you were to starting over from scratch, you would see that there are no tracked projects or total lines of code. In my case, the first 5 launches that I've done in this challenge so far resulted in almost 60,000 lines of code. And then also I have logged or clocked in commits on these days, right? When I say I mean myself and AI. As you can see, it is tracking all the commits made so far this year, and shows me the growth, code growth over time on both daily or monthly basis. As you can see, obviously, because I just launched the project, yesterday for testing purposes and everything, I only clocked it in this way. If it was starting from January 1st, it would have looked different. This particular chart is going to show you a 30-day rolling time period. Now, all the projects that I added are located in my portfolio, as I mentioned, and you can access it from the portfolio page. And then if you click, let's say, on any of them, like let's go to Pixel Perfect, you're going to see your lines of code, number of stars, forks, number of contributors, and total number of commits. If you want to refresh the number, all you got to click is refresh the state, and the number of lines of code should update immediately after the analysis has been done. Pretty sure that the stats, the way the stats are updated is there's like a virtual place where the files are downloaded and then observed and analyzed, and then it just counts the number of lines of code. Really simple stuff, but again, it's super interesting project for me. As you can see, it updates the last check date for your project as well, and that's pretty much the project, right? Let's analyze the repository for this particular build. So I left that for the purpose of this video to just demo the tool in action. So let's go to my GitHub repo for Codeline Count. I'll just copy the URL, go back again to the tool, just paste it here, and then click to analyze. And as the analysis goes, as I said, you can click to expand or minimize this particular analytics dashboard. The app itself is designed to work primarily on desktop. Analytics dashboard, unfortunately, could not be fitted in easily on mobile, so I would definitely encourage you to use this app on primarily or only on desktop. As you can see, the tool already analyzed the number of lines of code, and the only thing that I need to do in order to get it accounted for along with others is to save it in my portfolio. Right now it's added to the portfolio itself right here, and then if I go back to my dashboard, you will see that I have 6 projects tracked, and now the Codeline count is almost 68,000. If I wanted to see how many days I clocked in and commits for this particular project, all I have to do is go back here and in the analytics dashboard, switch over to the Codeline Count repository and just click on the sync button right here, and it will fetch the commit data. Now, fair warning, on this particular thing, it is not always going to work from the get-go. Not sure. Sometimes, I guess, the API, due to the timeout period, breaks. So what I would advise you to do is basically try to resync it again, and most times that's going to work out for you. Yeah. So as we wait for that to happen, yeah, I mean, it's super simple. Again, everything's written in, as you see. Yeah, from the second go, it just logged in and clocked in all the commits that were made in this kind of 3-day period that I was spending to build this app. And then if I switch to all repositories, you can see I've been hard at work pretty much almost every day of the week for the past 3 weeks building my projects. And that's it. That's the tool. So the tech stack used to build that out was Lovable as usual for the front end, Supabase for back end to save all the data that needed to be saved, and then GitHub API to analyze the private repos. And I want to say that the main tip for this week on the build is definitely defining the design guidelines and make sure to get Lovable to reference them all the time. That is one of my core tips that I've skipped on this build. I kind of wanted to build fast. And again, building fast doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the project done faster. It's better to prepare for any upcoming issues down the road by having proper preparation. For this build, there were a few things that I did for the first time ever. Obviously, I needed to create a GitHub API key and then another token as well to be able to analyze my private repos. Very easy process, way easier than like Google Vision or something like that. This is also the first project where I have dark mode created as my number one choice. I'm usually like a bright white background guy type of a builder. And then I also kept the app below 100 edits, which I'm super proud of as well. Because usually my edit, like the last app was, I think, 360 commits. This one is more than 3 times less that. I think that, I mean, I'm not looking to improve this too much personally. I just want to use the core function that I needed it for. It works. Maybe I may add like some more descriptive information for each project. Like for instance, when you go to the portfolio, right, and you open the app, maybe there's room to make some improvements as to how this page looks like. But other than that, I really don't expect any dramatic changes for this one. Um, Now, unlike most other projects, I want to say, I had a lot more design issues than I would have expected, especially on mobile responsiveness. As I said, it's designed to be used on desktop, but people may resort to using it on mobile, and I had to make sure that I've designed it properly for that use case. But yeah, something was off there, and constantly had me go back to redesign things. And then the commits table, the grid, was very tough. I haven't been able to nail it down completely. As you see, like I had to redo, I had to do a click twice to get the commits to update. Not sure why it doesn't happen on the first go. So, but yeah, nevertheless, I think that the app works exactly the way I wanted to. Commit counting could be better, so I'll give it an 8 out of 10 on this one. And then the landing page is just 5 out of 10, like literally just works, but doesn't have any elements or any work put into it really. Um, if I worked on the design a little bit more, I would have probably given myself a 10 out of 10. And yeah, if you're interested in the number of lines of code, on the amount of lines of code for your project, just visit codelinecount.lovable.app, create your GitHub token, um, paste the URL of your repository that you're using to build, and then go back again to the analytics dashboard, click on the sync button, and see how many days you worked and how many commits that resulted in. This is also useful, again, pretty much for all of us AI builders, because when you go to your own GitHub for your org, it doesn't count the commits made by AI. It only counts commits made by you, right? Whereas my project counts all the commits, which is something, again, that I'm pretty interested in tracking for the purpose of like this whole process of building. So that's that for this week. I'll see you again next Saturday, and then meantime, keep shipping, guys.